You're live.
Hey guys, Jo Madden here. It's time for last call here on Wager Talk. We got a great loaded show for you. Of course, it's Thursday. We got Thursday night football. The wait for kickoff is finally over as the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys kick us off this season. It's going to be a fantastic season, and I'm so excited to be here with you here today on Wager Talk last call. Now, I'm Jo Madden. Like I said, you're going to be able to find me here on Monday and Thursdays for last call every single week at 7 p.m. Eastern during the football season. We will have a special as well tomorrow with the Friday night game in Brazil with the AFC West matchup there between the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Chargers. When you are joining us, make sure you hit that like button, hit that retweet button if you're watching over on Twitter, and if you can hit the subscribe button, I would appreciate it. I'm so excited to be here, and thank you for the nice comments coming in. It's great to see you, Seth, coming in here. Dallas people are saying in those comments, make sure you let me know who you're liking tonight. If you got a touchdown prop, if you got a reception prop, a passing prop, I want to hear everything you guys have, and drop those questions in the chat as well. We will try to get to as many as we can. Now, we got a loaded show for you here today. Andy Lang and Andrew McKinnis will be stepping up, and make sure you do have your odds logic page up and loaded, because those lines are moving, you guys, and you want to get the best of those numbers. When we look at where the lines are sitting right now, we are seeing that total all the way up to 48 on some books. There's actually a 48.5 over on DraftKings. Remember, this line did open at 46.5. We're seeing a 7.5 still at Hard Rock. This line has been bouncing all day for the side. The 7.5 coming in for the Philadelphia Eagles at Hard Rock right now at -110. But the rest across the board, we're seeing 8s and 8.5. FanDuel has pushed that number up to 8.5. So check out your odds logic page. Make sure you have that open so you're getting the best of the number. And before we bring in Andrew McKinnis, he's going to be stepping up first. I wanted to let you guys know the special that's going on right now at Wager Talk so that you don't miss out on it. You don't want to miss out on this one, you guys. It is so good. Kick off to football season with 7 days of winning action for just $11 a day. $77 for the full week to start off your football season with style. That is going to give you guys whatever handicapper you're picking, all their picks for those 7 days straight. So that will give you NFL opening week. That will give you week 2 of college football, plus MLS, soccer, and every other sport on the board. Don't miss this limited time offer. Stack those profits up in all sports across the market for your favorite handicapper. So you guys head on over to Wager Talk. Make sure you do jump on that. But it's time for last call tonight. Like I said, Andy Lang will be joining us to talk some props. First, we're going to welcome in Andrew McKinnis to talk some sides, totals, and hopefully he's got a couple of props for us as well. Andrew, how's your night going?
Joe, great to see you. We've worked together in the past, working together again. It feels like Christmas Day for a lot of people. It's a big night. And of course, the first of many, many football days here over the next several months. So I'm excited. I do have a prop, do have a couple different opinions, side and total. Looking forward to the game tonight.
Okay, so I'm looking forward to it as well. And Andrew, it's great to see you here. Let's talk about this total first. We know it opened at 46.5. You're seeing 48s, 48.5s out there even. What are you thinking? Is this number just getting too high?
You know, I think you hear the divisional dogs, but you also hear the divisional unders. You hear, the opening game, and also with both quarterbacks not really playing in the preseason. But at the end of the day, there's so much talent out there, and I think that we're going to see an over in this one. I do think a little bit of worry has to be with the offensive line issue with this Cowboys team. But if they can deal with that, and if they can kind of get some established chemistry with some of their newer guys, especially, they're going to be able to make plays as well. I think both these teams are going to have successful drives. The only thing that could kind of hurt us here would be how long these drives are. But all you hear about is divisional unders. It's the first game of the season. Philadelphia, kind of the banner night here for them. When I look at all these players, the roster on both these teams, there's talent across the board. There's playmakers, and I think that Dak does not get the credit he deserves from a lot of people. I'm not saying I'm a Dak guy, because on our other show, Prop It Up on Wager Talk, we're always talking about the interceptions and kind of the bad plays and the attempts and completions because he has to throw the ball so much. But I think we're going to see an over here. I think we're going to see a first game of the year, an exciting game, a back and forth. And as far as the point spread, Joe, is concerned, I think that with this point spread being what it is, it means that we're going to have to see some teams, of course, probably being the dog, Dallas, go for a touchdown and not kick the field goal. And a lot of people think that, going for a field goal can kind of hurt an over. And I agree with that. I mean, of course, field goals can kind of help you establish points and build that total up. But from where I'm sitting, I want teams to be a little more risky. I want them to go for it. We need 7, not 3. And I feel like with a point spread like this, you're not going to cover or even win a game, of course, by kicking field goals. So hopefully a little bit of risky moves here. I like the over in this game.
Yeah, I absolutely do as well. Now we're seeing Circa posting a 47 right now as money is obviously coming in and moving that line. So across the boards, you guys check out Odds Logic. Make sure you're getting the best of the number because I'm seeing as high as 48.5 over at DraftKings as low as 47 at Circa. But let's talk that spread. This spread opened with the Philadelphia Eagles as a 7-point favorite. Those lines have moved. We're seeing 8.5 as high as that over on FanDuel at -105, and then some solid 8s out there at -110. What are your thoughts on the side in this one? Can you trust the Eagles, who we know have been able to cover at home versus the boys in their last 4? Can you trust them in this opening game, divisional matchup, laying that many points, Andrew?
I feel like this is going to be one of those games you're at home watching, and if you're on the Eagles, and feel free to clip this, everybody, if I end up being completely wrong here, but you're going to be hoping that they are maintaining the lead throughout the entire game. You're praying for no backdoor cover, and I feel like it's going to be there. I think the Cowboys are going to be hovering around this exact number the entire game, and in the fourth quarter, they do just enough to cover and not win. The Eagles are going to win this game, but the Cowboys are going to cover the point spread here. I just talked about it with the over. I think they have game breakers. They have talent. And I think Dak is definitely constantly disrespected. He's a guy that can make plays, but he also gets those fourth quarter stats that can definitely stat stuff for him and kind of put those numbers a little higher than maybe they deserve to be a little bit. But I feel like they're going to feed a guy like George Pickens and show him that instant respect right away. They're going to get high targets early on, kind of play conservative, but throughout the game, I could see them throwing the long ball. Lamb seems like to be super healthy, and I even think they're going to hit the tight end position quite a bit, especially early on. We know the Eagles are really good at protecting from those deep balls, so early on, they'll probably go up the middle and kind of establish that threat. As far as the Eagles, we know what they're capable of. We know what they can do. And the best part about the Eagles, when you think about a team that might run the ball a lot, running the ball a lot of times you can kind of use for when you're talking about an under, but not with the Eagles. Running the ball can equate to 20, 30 yards. We know what they're capable of. We know what this ground game's capable of. We're talking about both running back and quarterback on this team, not to mention the great receivers they have. But I still think the Cowboys are going to be able to hang around within this number. Both games last year, Dak Prescott wasn't even the quarterback for this team here. So this number has just gotten a bit too big for me, Joe. The Eagles have talent. We know what they can do. But I just think this is going to be a little bit too big of a number. I see a backdoor fourth quarter cover here for the Cowboys.
I love where you're going with that. That is such a big number out there, laying 8.5 in a divisional matchup. Okay, any chance at all that we need to sprinkle on this money line, Andrew, in your opinion? Can the Cowboys pull off the big upset in Thursday Night Football?
So everybody has that kind of certain threshold where they're willing to, they're like, okay, if I'm playing plus 4.5, I have to play the money line. For me, this number's big enough. I'm not doing it. Some people might, but from where I'm sitting, again, I just think that this number has gotten high enough that I'm willing to take the underdog here. I don't think I'm betting the money line, and I just think that, hey, maybe you watch the game, you see how it's going, you're impressed with maybe the chemistry you're seeing early on, and you go ahead and sprinkle that money line, or maybe the Eagles look a little bit off. I don't know about that really too much. I think that I do think, though, Joe, and I'm sure you agree with me, like, I think that this is a little bit correlated. Like, I truly do. I think that if the Eagles cover, I think the under hits. And it sounds kind of funny because it's such a massive point spread. But if they're going to have to cover that point spread, I think they're going to shut down Dallas. But I think if this game goes over, I think Dallas puts enough points on the board to both cover the point spread and help get this one over. I got to tell you, I really like the prop, though, of over 36.5 attempts for Dak Prescott. In this threshold of 7.5 to 8 points for an underdog, I've always loved betting, whether it be completions or pass attempts for the quarterback on the underdog team, just because I do think that this team can hang around and cover the point spread. But, I'm not out of reality here. I think the Cowboys are going to be down for most of the game. So with that, they're going to have to throw the ball. And there have been concerns about the offensive line, of course. And we know, again, how great the Eagles defense is at limiting big plays. So there's probably going to be a high volume of passes, especially early on in this contest. So over 36.5 against good defenses that prevent the big plays. We saw Dak go over getting 37, 38, 39 into the 40s on his passing attempts last year. Wouldn't be shocked to see the run game get quite honestly eliminated by the second half. They're going to need to throw the ball.
Absolutely, they will. You guys, you're watching Last Call here over on Wager Talk. I'm joined by Andrew McKinnis right now. I'm Jo Madden. Andrew, you talked about the tight end position out there for the Cowboys, how Dak can get that ball nicely down the middle, some short passes as we do see the Eagles defense tighten up. What do you think here of Jake Ferguson? Jake Ferguson coming in, his prop is moving. It's 38.5 for his receiving prop to the over. You're getting his anytime touchdown right around that plus 280 to plus 290 mark. Anything here for Jake Ferguson in this matchup?
So, I mean, again, kind of correlating with my pass attempts number with Dak Prescott, I would think I'd be a little bit more likely to look towards the receptions for Ferguson than I would be able to look towards the receiving yards. And the numbers kind of dictate that because his number is anywhere between 4.5, 3.5, and 4.5. And I think that, looking at how low that receiving yard number is, they're pretty much looking at him being a safety security blanket, someone that's not going to be used to get a ton of yards, but just to kind of move the ball a little bit. But that's still probably the way I'd go. And if he's facing pressure and Dak wants to get that ball out of his hands and not throw the ball away or take a sack, I feel like Jake's going to be the guy that's there for it. That anytime touchdown score could be kind of tempting because maybe he's that guy that is available for him in the end zone. But as far as receiving yards versus receptions, he's definitely somebody I'd probably look towards the receptions tonight more so than the yards.
Yeah, absolutely. When Dak Prescott is on the field, you're seeing an average of 8 receptions for Jake Ferguson. So definitely somewhere to look. Now, we have a comment here on YouTube, Andrew, and I just want to get your opinion on it. National Field Goal League did comment that Dak's not worth $60 million a year. Nobody's worth $5 million a year. What do you think the pressure is here on Dak because of the contract he got? And do you think he's worth that kind of money for the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, I think that we're a little bit foolish if we say that, I want to say the success, but the lack thereof success has been because of him. But of course, he is the guy. In all sports, when you get paid this, you are the guy. You are the player that has to be able to take the blame. So I get it. But at the end of the day, the numbers speak for themselves. Again, myself and Andy Lang on Prop It Up, we do joke around about some of these QBs that can rack up the fourth quarter numbers that can make them look a little bit better than they are. But this is the big test, Joe. Like for everybody that's backing the Cowboys tonight on the spread, you're looking at some of these guys. You're looking at Lamb. You're looking at Pickens. And you're saying, all right, Dak, you got your guys. We need you to make some plays. So, is that joke and that comment, does it make sense? For sure, it makes some sense. But I'm curious if we'll get National Field Goal League commenting that in 3 or 4 weeks. Give us some time. See what Dak does this season. Because you know what? He's getting 8 points tonight in a divisional game. If you feel that horrible about him, then I think we know what side this guy's on.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's one more player that I really want to circle here with you. That's Saquon Barkley. We know what Saquon Barkley was able to do last year. What are your hopes for him this year? Is this a player that you took in your fantasy league? Do you think he's going to be able to do what he did last season, Andrew?
Well, I love telling our favorite producer, Dan, that he's just a product of a great offensive line. But we all know he is so great. And the season he had last year was unbelievable. I'll tell you, we're always trying to find different props and we're trying to find different ways to make money on players. And we know how increased a number can get over a week, every week when it gets so high. I remember a couple of years ago, the Derrick Henry numbers were getting so high. So one of my favorite ones was Saquon Barkley just started being the longest rush for him. That way, he's good for one breakout play every game, it seemed like, or if not that, multiple of them. So, if we're getting an extremely high number on his rushing yards, but we can bet that one play, that one game-breaking play, over, then that's what I want to look at, because sometimes it is hard when you're taking these guys that are everyone's favorite running back. And that's one of our favorite things to do on the Prop It Up show is, hey, sometimes you can make money on the big name guys, but we also like looking at the second running back option or the third receiver option, because that sometimes is where the value is.
Yeah, I absolutely love where you're going with that. There was so many times last season where we did see that longest rush attempt go nicely over, and then the players still stay under their total rushing yards. So if you're looking at Saquon Barkley tonight, you guys, his total rushing yards sitting at 95.5, minus 113-ish to either side. And we are seeing Saquon Barkley for his longest rush sitting at 21.5 at minus 118. And I do think that is a great way to go. Right?
That's a good
Great
number, Joe. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We could see 25 yards out of him. He has like a nice breakout. His anytime touchdown prop is so highly juiced tonight. You're going to lay like basically $2 to get that. Would you look at him for 2 touchdowns? We know he wasn't able to get touchdowns versus the Cowboys last season.
First game of the season, I'm going to stay off the 2+ touchdowns there. I'll spread it around a little bit, look towards other guys. Not saying it can't hit, but you see you see Hurts get a touchdown, or you see a receiver that you might not expect to get one, that automatically takes an option away from him getting one that maybe you thought he was going to get. So I'll stay away from the 2+ touchdowns. That's another way people try and search for value, but sometimes it can hurt you.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in this first game here, Andrew. Okay, Andrew, what are your best bets for this game? So everyone who maybe is just jumping into the show right now can get all of those.
Hey, whether they cover or they don't, I think that the Cowboys are going to be hanging around in this one, but I think a lot of it's going to be due to the high volume of passing attempts from Dak Prescott. Again, in the last 2 losses against this Eagles team, he wasn't even out there. I feel like this team is going to be locked in here. They've known about this matchup for a long time, but we know how good the Eagles are at giving up that big play. They're going to have to be really smart, this Cowboys team, especially out the gate, which means shorter passes, which means safer passes, which means higher volume as far as the passing attempts. Over 36.5 there. But I do like that over, Joe. I think regardless if this Cowboys team covers or not, we're going to see points. We're going to see talent out there. We're going to see some really nice plays here for game 1 of the season.
Absolutely. And Andrew, it is a big night. What have you got for sale over on WagerTalk tonight?
Well, that deal is fantastic. You're going to get $11 a day, $77. Right now, I believe top 5 at the website in MLB. We've got CFL loaded, and we have a props package for NFL going all week, all the way up till Monday Night Football. So you guys want to get that package, and every single prop play that I release as the week goes on, they're not all in there right now, but they will gradually go in over the week, and you guys can get all of those the second I give them out right in your inbox. Looking forward to it. But that Dak Prescott passing attempts is a 3% free play over at WagerTalk right now.
Okay, Andrew, all the best tonight in Thursday Night Football. Thank you so much for joining me here on Last Call tonight.
Great to see you, Joe.
Great to see you as well. Okay, you guys, we're counting down. Kickoff is in less than an hour. We're going to bring Andy Lang in just a second, but I just want to remind you guys of that special that is happening over on WagerTalk. $11 a day. It's a weekly package, so $77. Just $11 a day is a great deal over on WagerTalk. You want to make sure you jump in on it. It's going to give you every single pick for the handicapper of your choice. NFL opening week, week 2 of college football, MLB, soccer, and every other sport on the board. So head on over to WagerTalk to grab that. But Andy Lang, let's bring you into the show. Let's talk some props here. Excited for you to be joining me today. Maybe not, Andy. Your mic I think is muted. There we go. That is better.
Yeah, it's prop season. A little less sleep every night, crunching the games. But hey, this is what we live for. This is what we do around here.
Absolutely. Andy, tell me your process when you're breaking down these props, jumping into a game like this Thursday night football where we only have the history from last season.
There's a lot of gut reactions because there's not a lot of stats to go from. So you have to play the game out in your head. What's the flow, So the key is week 1, don't go big. Don't go all in on a lot of these. You can look at stats from last year. They will tell you a little bit of a story, but you're looking at game flow. Gravitate to guys that you like. I'm not taking very many unders this week just because there could be big explosive plays, broken plays on defense. So I'm looking to see, hey, who are the guys that are going to really, really succeed? And you also got to remember week 1, the books are guessing at these numbers too.
Yeah.
There are a few hidden gems. You only got to find a couple to turn a profit. So you got to remember these are very vanilla numbers across the board, and we got a couple of them tonight.
Okay, I want to hear what's your best bet out there in the prop market? Which line is just looking off to you?
It's an obscure one. I think that's where the value is. Javonte Williams over 12.5 receiving. On his other team last year, he went over this 9 games last season, and he was not the true featured back. Dallas has come out and said, this is our guy. Vote of confidence. He's going to be our unquestioned number 1 back, so he's going to be out there a lot. Just a couple of dump-offs, 1 screen can get over this, a couple of broken plays, and don't forget about what if he's in on the first half when they're going, no huddle. There's just a lot of opportunities again. I love taking these running backs over these short yardages, like 12.5. I mean, it's 1 play, he can do it. If this guy gets 2 or 3 catches, he's going over this. So you give me a guy that's going to be out on the field a lot, and a guy that has good hands, has shown he can catch the ball, and I only need 12.5. Yeah, absolutely. And especially against this rush of Philly, like they're going to need some short passes at times to keep the pressure off Dak. So love this low number on Javonte. Give me the over.
Yeah, I love where you're going there with that one. I think it is a great place to put your money. Lines are moving, you guys. Again, check out Odds Logic. Make sure you're getting that 12.5 because I am seeing 13.5s out there with juice to the over. So 12.5 is an absolute steal, Andy. What else do you have for us for Thursday Night Football?
Well, one of the things I do with props is you got to just stick to it and play the same things every week. A lot of these props, I'm not looking to just go 1-0 in. I'm looking to try and go 4-1, 6-2. So a play that we're just going to keep playing over and over. This worked last year. Is Jalen Hurts will rush for a touchdown. He rushed for 14 last year. He rushed for 2 against Dallas in the 1 game he played. And talk about extra motivation. The NFL tries to go to the Packers to bring up banning this play, and then it flops. Dan knows that Philly, not exactly a team, a city, or a coach that will just forget about this. So Dan is, I think Dan's 100% on board with me that you may see a few extra tush pushes throughout this season as a little you-know-what to the NFL.
Absolutely. So Jalen Hurts is coming in at -160 for his anytime touchdown right now. You could look at him for the first touchdown at +460 or +500 for that last touchdown. Is there anything you like between the first and the last touchdown there for Jalen Hurts, or is this just a play on his straight up touchdown there?
Just a blanket play every week. You only pay juice if it loses. Again, 14 rushing touchdowns. I mean, this guy averages 1 a game in his career. So I don't want to get too cute with the first touchdown. Just once they get inside the 3-yard line, everyone knows what's going to happen.
Oh, absolutely. But also, you get him anywhere in that red zone. We know Jalen Hurts is so phenomenally strong with his legs. He's able to run that in. So I'm not concerned about him at all, Andy. I think that is a great way to go. So you've given us one touchdown prop here, one receiving prop. What else do you have for us?
Let's go George Pickens over 22.5 on his longest reception. This is a play you can go back and look at last year's stats. I mean, even on a team that was not prolific with their passing game, I don't count the last game of the year for Pickens. He only had one catch, and it was that kind of throwaway game against Cincinnati. So he had played in 14 games. He went over this in 12 of those 14 games. And I just have this. I think Pickens is going to have a nice year production wise. Like, is he going to be a big part of the team winning? Who knows? But I just think opposite of CeeDee Lamb, he's going to get some weaker coverage, and Dak is not scared to throw the ball deep. And outside of CeeDee Lamb, you've got him, you've got Ferguson, you've got Javonte, in my opinion. But it falls off a cliff after that. Not a lot of targets there are not a lot of guys that are going to be absorbing targets. So I think CeeDee Lamb and Pickens are going to absorb a lot. I kind of like the Pickens props. I like his over receptions. I like his over 57.5 yards. But deep plays, man, he is one of the best in the NFL. He knows how to go up and get it. He knows how to fight single coverage. So give me over 22.5 on his longest reception.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice number. Andrew McKinnis and I were talking about betting the longest reception versus the receptions in total and the total receiving yards. Do you have a preference normally when you look at all three of those props?
No, it just depends player to player. Again, this is going to be one that I would like to play every single week. He only needs one jump ball to go his way and you're cashing. If you would have played this every year, wouldn't you like to go 12 out of 14 games? You don't have to find too many of those props to have a really banging successful season. So I'll just stick to that one and play it week after week, rinse and repeat.
Absolutely. So we've got a lot of comments coming in. McKinnis is saying that the longest reception, he loves that one that you're throwing at us, Andy. So if you're looking at that, if you're looking at George Pickens here, what are your hopes for Dak Prescott tonight? We know those lines have moved for Dak. And I was shocked when I saw the way they moved this morning. So yesterday I got Dak Prescott over 248.5 for his passing yards. That number's dropped to 244.5 on some books. Any thoughts on that and any thoughts on him being able to go over that number or staying under that number tonight?
Well, you're clearly hoping that Philly gets up. I don't think Dallas wants to have Dak, dropping back to pass every single time with an offensive line that's ranked 23rd coming into the season by PFF against that Philly pass rush. So you got to hope that he goes over this. I think if you're taking Dak overs, I think you might be looking at a better spot to take him live, because if they're close, I think they're going to try and run the ball. I think they're going to try and run the clock down. They get behind by a couple scores, then you're going to see Dak air it out, and I think you're going to get a better line. So as far as Dak Prescott actual passing props to go over, I want to get a live line on this prop before the games instead of before the game starts.
Absolutely. So when you're looking at live betting, Andy, are you going into this game with sort of some numbers in your head where you say, if it hits this number, that's a bingo for you, that's when you're going to come in and live bet it?
No, I don't do a lot of NFL live betting. I am UFC through and through. That's the sport I do the best in. So when I'm not live betting a lot. What I'm hoping for is for a certain game script to fall my way. So if there's a team, if there's a team that's up and the starting running back hasn't rushed for a ton of yards, you're like, okay, he's probably going to get a lot of second half carries. You might get an adjusted number here. And that's when we do those ladders up. Like, you get Derrick Henry to go over 90, then over 100, over 110. Now you're getting into those 2-to-1s and 3-to-1s. So it's purely game script, but if the game script doesn't go the way that I'm hoping, then you just move on to the next one and forget about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything you got laddered tonight, Andy?
No, I can give you a same game parlay though.
Let's go.
Yeah. This one is on DraftKings. I gave out a 3-legger. Earlier today, I'm gonna add another one to this. So we're gonna do this is a plus 268 on DraftKings. I'm gonna start with the Eagles over 23.5 on their team total. Philly averaged 29 points last year. I don't think their offense is gonna struggle. We're going to take Saquon to have 80-plus rushing yards. He did this 13 times last year, and he averaged 5.1 yards per carry against Dallas. I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb over 60 yards receiving. The last 5 games he's played against Philadelphia with Dak as his quarterback, he's gone over this total. And I'm going to take Dak to throw an interception. I was going to play this on its own, but everyone is on this one. It's minus 180. If he's going to have to throw the ball 50 times, he's going to throw one to Philly. I could see this being batted at the line. I could see him getting pressured and being pushed out of the pocket. I just think he's going to throw one. He threw 8 in 8 games last year. So Dak to throw an interception, Saquon 80-plus rushing, CeeDee Lamb 60-plus receiving, and the Eagles over 23.5. Get you plus 268 on DraftKings.
Oh, that is a sweet bet. And I'm with you with that interception. Okay, if you're banking on the interception, can you back my favorite touchdown prop? It's when I look at these defenses to get the touchdown. Can we see the Eagles run it back? If we can see the Eagles run it back, it's plus 500 right now for the defensive touchdown. And I tell you, Andy, I'm going to be coming in with these left, right, and center this football season.
If you can find that team and play them every week. I know the Patriots did it like 9 games one year, and I know this Dallas team did it. Their 2 corners kept intercepting the ball and running it back. I would stick to it. Again, if they don't score this week, but I would wait for him to play. I would wait for him to play teams with quarterbacks that are going to throw errant ones. So Dak, yeah, absolutely. If you can play if the Giants are starting Jackson Dart at some point, yeah, then you play it. I wouldn't play him though if they're playing Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson falls down or he throws the ball out of bounds. So yeah, pick your spots with guys that throw the ball like really, really, in dangerous positions. But Dak, yeah, he's one of them. He'll force a couple in there.
Can we just fade Daniel Jones in a start for the Colts to throw that interception and get picked off as well?
What's that one?
Daniel Jones. Right? Like he throws those interceptions all the time. Can we count on him for one?
Can you count on Miami and that weak secondary? I don't know. I don't have high hopes for my Colts. I think they lose. But is Daniel Jones throwing the ball to the wrong team, or is he throwing it in the dirt, or is he throwing it over the head of the sidelines, or is he running? I don't know. I live in Indianapolis. I follow this team. And I have no read on them. I just don't think they're going to be very good. I think this is a throwaway season. So interceptions, I have no opinion.
Yeah, when Daniel Jones is your starting quarterback, I kind of question that, Andy. But high hopes for Daniel Jones out of some people, expecting him to have a better season there with your Indianapolis Colts. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you. I want to quickly touch on what you're liking, if there's anything that we should look ahead for tomorrow or Sunday. But first, where are you going with the side with this? We've talked all your props. Where are you leaning? Maybe not an official pick, but who would you like to come out, get the win? Who do you think covers this one?
I don't know. I really do stick to props in NFL. Yeah. These are all the props we give out to clients. These are props I bet with my own money. So if I give out a prop to clients, I play it. So I don't want to tell anybody something that I don't really believe in. I just don't do spreads. I find the hit rate on props is way higher. But I will not be betting on the Colts. Jo, you said, wow, it's rough having Daniel Jones as your starting quarterback. Could be worse. It could be Anthony Richardson. I mean, so we'd really be in trouble if that guy was our starting quarterback this season. No, be careful tomorrow. This game is in Brazil tomorrow. I think people forget about that. Remember, the field conditions last year were atrocious, and you had that completely wild game. There's too much variables in the Brazil game. There were players that were scared to leave the hotel. So I will gladly not play anything in the Brazil game. Yeah, and as far as Sunday, I like Tyrone Tracy over his rushing. There's one to look at, 57.5. He really played one game against Washington last year because first game of the season, he wasn't the starter. He had 66 yards rushing. This Giants offensive line is bad in pass rush, so what's the best way to combat that? It's try and run the ball. And Washington does not have a great defensive line. I think they lost their sack leader last year. And Tyrone Tracy, if this game is close, they are going to give him 16, 17, 18 carries maybe. So 57.5 is a good one. But really, I'll start having my final card tomorrow. You got to be careful with these props, Joe. I tell people this all the time. You actually don't want to get the best number of the prop. And I know that's completely counterintuitive. Getting the best number of props is how you get limited. And we cannot make money if the books are limiting us. So I actually wait closer to kickoff. I know that's like when you're talking spreads and totals, it's the complete opposite of what you want to do, but you have to just wait, let these lines settle in. For example, I gave out that Dak Prescott earlier this week. It was minus 150. Now it's like minus 180. You do that too much, you're absolutely getting limited, and you're not going to be able to open up any more books. So you got to be patient with these NFL props. I know it sucks not getting the best number, but it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Absolutely, and it's better to get those bets in. You got a question here from Seth. Do you think Mr. Swift, I'm guessing they're talking Travis, will score a tutty tomorrow for the Kansas City Chiefs?
Oh man. I thought he was talking DeAndre Swift, and I was like, I do like DeAndre Swift. Yeah, there's a Mr. Swift. I think Travis Kelce has scored in life. We'll just say that. So, no, how could you take Travis Kelce to score? What, he had 3 touchdowns last year. It was really a bummer year. And then, kind of basically comes out he was going to retire if they won the Super Bowl. So one last ride. The only thing that you could be going for is what if he's just really non-existent in between the 20s and he just becomes that insane red zone target where he has 2 catches a game for 6 yards and one of them's a touchdown. But nope, won't be playing Mr. Swift.
Okay, I love where you're going with that. I'm not going to touch him either. I think it's going to be a really interesting game in Brazil. Hoping those lines move, Andy. I'm hoping for a 3.5 with the Chargers with a lighter juice. But I wish you all the best in your bets tonight. Can you give everyone a recap of those props that you're loving so that they can get them in here, as well as what you've got for sale over on WagerTalk?
Yeah, the only one that I've played for clients is that Jalen Hurts to score. Like I said, we're playing that every single week. But if you guys want some fun action here, I've not played these yet, but I'm looking at Javonte Williams over 12.5 receiving. I already know I'm going to regret not playing that one. I know that's going to hit, and I'm going to be really mad at myself. Pickens over his longest reception, but again, you're playing that every week. Then we have that same game parlay, Eagles over 23.5 team total, Saquon 80+ rushing, Lamb 60+ receiving, Dak to throw the interception. So those are some ones that I got going. And I did pull something up. The comment about Dak Prescott being $60 million. Do you know he makes $15 million more than Patrick Mahomes? And
that's
it's like
crazy.
That's an offensive lineman and like a linebacker right there that you could have signed just because your quarterback says, I don't need to make $60 million a year. I'm willing to make 45, live a perfectly fine life, and be in the Super Bowl every year. Kirk Cousins makes the exact same money as Patrick Mahomes. That's another fun. It's another fun fact.
That is outstanding, right? Like Cousins or Mahomes. Who do you want, Andy?
Yes.
Like when you're betting.
Yeah. The most stunning one is that Deshaun Watson still makes $1 million more a year than Patrick Mahomes. But is Dak worth it? Listen, he's probably good for sales. He's good for keeping Cowboys in the spotlight. But playoff wins and championships at $60 million. Ugh. Yeah.
Dak's getting up there, right? Are you worried about injury at all for Dak Prescott this season? Because you look at their win total with the trade with Micah Parsons, that win total, lowest since 2003, I believe it is, Andy, dropping to 6.5. You got to lay juice to the over, but man, I tell you, that's a low number for the Dallas Cowboys.
I do worry about injuries. The guy's taking a lot of hits. He's taking a beating. He only played, 8 games last year. So, yeah, I do worry about it. So if you're going to play these Dak props, get him early. Get him early in the season. If he gets banged up, he's going to be struggling.
Yeah, him, Matt Stafford. There is a list of aging quarterbacks out there that I'm looking to play early in the season, probably not late. We know Matt Stafford has had success, but I worry about that, his back and how healthy he is out there, Andy. But what you have for sale over on WagerTalk, I know you're part of this great deal going on right now. So what have you got coming up this week?
NFL Week 1 pack is up, so you want to get that now. You'll get all of our props through NFL all the way through Monday Night Football. Like I said, they're going to be coming out all weekend, so only got a couple up there. One of them goes off tonight, one of them for Sunday. But you get that, like I said, you get all the props for every single game that we have, so that's a great deal. We got a 5% UFC best bet that is up. We got a really stacked card, so yeah, if you want to lock in a 3-day pass, that would work. You could lock in that 7 days for 77. If you're just interested in a 5% play, UFC is up. If you're just interested in props, that prop pack is only $19. So we got a little bit of everything up there to make everyone some money tonight and this week.
Yeah, absolutely, Andy. Thank you so much for joining me here on Last Call over on WagerTalk. You guys, make sure you go over to WagerTalk and grab Andy's package. Okay, you guys, let's look at those lines. And those lines are moving. Money has come in on the under, and I'm shocked by this. We've seen that total now 47s and 47.5s across the board. I saw 147. It just did pop back up to 47.5. So we're seeing movement in the total. We are seeing 8s and 8.5s for that spread. The best line really is the 47.5 at -109. I'm seeing right now at Pinnacle. The 8.5 is -102 at BetMGM. So make sure you go over, open your odds logic, shop those lines out there, and see where the movements are. But that was Andy Lang. We also had Andrew McKinnus giving you those sides and totals. I want to quickly go over what I'm liking for tonight's matchup. I think we're in for a great game, and I'm kind of nervous with this full game total. You guys sitting at 47.5, a little bit more comfortable taking it to the over. But my concern here is that we're going to see the Eagles get up big, and then in that third quarter, fourth quarter, really look to run the clock, run Saquon Barkley, eat away at that clock, and not allow that ball to get in Dak Prescott's hands. We know that's the recipe for success out there for the Eagles, is not allow Dak the time on the field. But I do think this game starts off hot. So I'm looking for the first half of this game to start off nice and fast. So I will take the over 24.5 in the first half. When we look at the over 24.5 in the first half, we're getting that between +100, -110 on some books. There's even a +110. I got it out there at +100. When I look at that and I look at the recipe for success, I do think you could probably look at, I've got Dak Prescott for his passing prop to the over. Now, I talked about it with both the guys, how this line has moved on Dak. We're seeing 240.5, you guys. Now, this is absolutely terrible for me. I got it at 248.5. I got a terrible number. Now at 240.5 on these books. So be cautious with Dak's passing prop out there. But if you look at his longest pass attempt, I do think that's a great way to go. These numbers for Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott coming in at the same, at that 35.5 for both of these guys. Now, Dak is juiced higher at -118, -120 on some books. We're seeing Jalen Hurts coming in right around that -110, -112 mark. I will take Dak for that long, deep pass over 20 or 35.5. For his longest pass completion out there. So I think Dak is in for a better night than we're seeing the lines move in that situation. I think you can count on him for those passing touchdowns as well. I don't see them trying to run this ball in. So Dak over 1.5 passing touchdowns, still coming in right around that +112. I do think Ferguson will be a target out there. We talked with Andrew McKinnis about how Dak will look to pass that up the middle. Jake Ferguson, a nice, big, solid tight end out there for him to get to. And I think if you look at Jake Ferguson for the anytime touchdown, you should have success in this one. Dak loves to look for him. When Dak's on the field with Jake Ferguson, you're looking at Ferguson getting around 8 targets per game on average. So I'll take Ferguson for the anytime touchdown. You guys, that's coming in right around that +290 mark. And I know Saquon Barkley should have success for the Eagles. I'm with Andy and Andrew on this one, where I think he'll have the success, but do you really want to bet him at the market price it's sitting at almost $2 that I have to lay? I don't want to get on Barkley for the 1 touchdown. And to look at him for the 2+ touchdowns, yes, you're going to get great, like +400 value. And could I see him doing it? Absolutely. But is that enough value to really jump on him in the first game of the season when it seems like everyone and their grandmother wants to bet Saquon Barkley tonight? I will stay off him for the anytime touchdown. It also concerns me a little bit when we look at him versus the Cowboys last season and how they limited him. Now, in that last game, the second game of the season, I believe it was week 17, we did see them really lock down on him. But he still had success with his legs. He was able to rush for over 100 yards in that one. I think it was closer to 130. So he had a big game, but I don't love it tonight. So I would stay off of him. I'm with Andy Lang. I love Jalen Hurts. You know Jalen Hurts is going to go for that tush push. We know he can run it in with his legs as well. He's right around that minus 160 mark for his anytime touchdown, you guys. If I was going to take anyone, and I mean anyone for 2+ touchdowns, it would be Jalen Hurts. So 2+ touchdowns coming in at, let me just see, it's plus 440 for the first touchdown. 2+ touchdowns at plus 380. I could see him getting that first touchdown. I could also see him getting the 2+ touchdowns. Really interesting when we look at the Eagles. Some of those trends, you guys, I just want to throw at you before you get these bets in. You look at the Eagles and their ability to score those first touchdowns out there has been fantastic. So the Eagles, they've won their last 10 home games. Yes, it was last season, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear last season stats, but it's still a stat that needs to be noted here. They've also scored the first touchdown in their last 9 games. So they've come out so strong on that first drive, able to get things done. I could see it happening tonight for sure. And if I was going to take anyone, well, you know, between Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts, but Andy Lang made a good point. The tush push that everyone was trying to deny, that Green Bay was fighting against, wouldn't it be great to see Jalen Hurts get it on that first drive, the tush push in for the first touchdown? So that's coming in at plus 440. Again, 2+ touchdowns for Jalen Hurts at plus 380. So I would look there, you guys. And then when we're looking at the Eagles as well, I got to look at A.J. Brown. He's coming in at plus 155 for an anytime touchdown. You're starting to lose value on his anytime touchdown. It was plus 160, plus 170 on some books. So I definitely think you want to jump in and look there. You just look at A.J. Brown and his success he's had in week 1s out there. And he's been nice and strong since joining this team. So in 2024, 5 catches, 119 yards, a touchdown. 2023, 7 catches, 79 yards, and 10 catches and 155 yards in 2022. You could look at him over the 4.5 receptions. The books are onto this market. It's minus 140. It's out of my range for wanting to bet that. But when we look at those last 3 seasons, he's at 5, 7, and 10 receptions. So if you want to fire him up over 5.5 receptions, that's where you're going to get some plus money. But you guys, it's going to be a great night. I want to thank you guys all so very much for joining me here on Last Call. So I will be doing a special Last Call tomorrow night for the Friday night game. We're going to break it down. You guys know I'm a Bolts fan. You know I'm looking for that 3.5. Shop for that 3.5 when the juice starts dropping. I'm really hoping public money comes in on KC, but we'll break down that full game tomorrow. We're going to have a great show here, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then join me on the weekly for the full NFL season. We're going to go live Monday and Thursday for Last Call, 7 p.m. Eastern, giving you the bets that you want to jump in on. But you guys, thanks so much for joining me here on Last Call. Let's make some freaking money tonight. Best of luck in Thursday Night Football.